Good afternoon. Welcome to Rowley Baptist Church. My name's Ricky. I'm one of the ministers. I hope you've been having a good week. I hope you've been enjoying the weather, making the most of it, and maybe you've been enjoying the spring harvest resources as well. Spring Harvest Home. Great to be able to engage with that, even though the main festivals had to be cancelled this year. We just wanted to give you an update really on the lockdown situation. And what we've been doing in response to that, and maybe what's next for us. So the first thing that we felt we needed to do when lockdown was suddenly thrust upon us was to properly, as far as we could, assess the needs of our fellowship. We started an exercise to examine the people who we believed would be the most at risk during lockdown, the most in need. And we looked at a list of around 120 people who we thought would be the most vulnerable, those who would be at the greatest risk of isolation. And we looked at a number of different factors. We considered those that we knew had an illness, either a current or a prior illness, those who live on their own, those who are of a particular age, let's leave it at that, those who may have struggles with their mental health, either now or in the past, those who have no family locally who could support them, and those who were not particularly connected to a life group. And when we had looked at that list, we were able to see very quickly who we believed were the absolute priority for our time, and for those that we absolutely needed to get sorted out earliest. And then we moved on to a much wider list, a list of about 300 people, and those are the people who are part of our fellowship in one way or another. Those who either meet with us regularly for worship, those who are connected through one of our activities or our groups. That includes members and non-members as well. And that, as I say, that was a list of about just over 300 people that we were looking at. And what we tried to do was to make sure that everybody was connected in some way, either connected to the fellowship, or even just that they were connected with their own local family, that they had people who were looking out for them and who were able to care for them. But particularly across the fellowship, we wanted to make sure that we knew who was connected and who might be disconnected. So if they weren't connected via a life group or via their family or via their neighbours or their friends, then we would assign them to someone so that we could make sure not only did we know that they were connected, but we would be able to explain how they were connected and who we could go to for support and who we could point them to when they needed support as well. So that's taken a large part of the first couple of weeks of lockdown for us to get through that list as ministers and elders, as a staff team as well, and as we've communicated with life group leaders as well in particular. But also in that time we've had to look at other things as well. We've had to get ourselves organised as a staff team, as elders and trustees. We've had our meetings to consider, our regular meetings. Additional meetings obviously to do some of this work and some of this planning and get ourselves organised. We've had to rethink our services. We've had to move our services online with very little time to prepare. And that's obviously taken an awful lot of time, both for the talks and the worship, and organising telephone access for those who are not connected in that way, those who are offline. We've also been rethinking, well, actually, how do we do life groups? What can life groups do in this time? How can they stay connected? How can we facilitate them and the life group leaders as they connect with one another and care for one another in this time? We've had our regular staff team meetings. In fact, we now have more meetings than ever. We meet every day in a video call for a catch-up, pastoral catch-up particularly, planning for the day and prayer for the church and for the community. We've had our elders meetings, which are now weekly meetings. We've had our regular trustees meeting as well, but with a particular focus, you'll understand, on lockdown and on the impact that coronavirus is likely to have on the church. But we've had to rethink as well how we do uh, pastoral care, how we provide pastoral and practical care and support in these difficult and very restricted times. We've also been supporting the local community hub, and you'll know that this is running out of the mega centre. We have a number of people involved in various ways, and the hub, as far as we can tell, seems to be running incredibly well, which is great. And as ministers as well, we've been supporting the list of people who are shielding in our local community, in our local district, in fact. Members of the clergy from churches across Rayleigh and the wider district are in contact with people who are shielding in the community who may have no other means of support. And we're there to be a listening ear. We're there to check that they're okay and that they're being looked after, and to point them on, to direct them on to other services where they need a little bit of extra support. Another thing that we need to be doing now it feels like we've got through the initial madness, the busyness, the uncertainty in those first few weeks. We need to be looking and planning for the way forward as well. It looks as if this will be the way that we operate for some months. I hope that doesn't come as a surprise to you. I hope that you're following the news and are up to speed. But it looks like this will be the way that we communicate for some time. And so it's right that we need to be looking now, thinking strategically about how we do this going forward. What are we doing well and what do we need to improve? How can we develop things from here? Those things that we've done from a standing start and we've just made the best of the situation. Actually, how can we make sure that we improve in some of those areas as well? But also we want to look at what opportunities does this time, this very strange time, present to us. We've seen great examples of the community coming together, of neighbourhoods coming together, of neighbours getting to know each other in a way that they never have before. So that's a fantastic opportunity for us as a church, as a fellowship, to serve our fellow neighbours, to love as we would want to be loved in this situation. But also we're seeing an increase in the number of people who are connecting with our online services. And what opportunity do we have there? What do we need to do differently about the way that we gather together online? It's been great to have people dialing in and having offline access, and we've had contact from a number of other churches asking how we've done that, so we've passed that information on. But some churches have simply pointed their members to our dial-in service as well. But there are lots of opportunities in this time. So what we're trying to look at, what are those opportunities and how can we make the best of them? So much of the time that we've spent so far feels like it's just been kind of organising ourselves and getting ourselves sorted and settled, and making sure that we're in a good position for the next few months. Now this Sunday we're going to start a new teaching series. We've come through the last teaching series, we've celebrated Easter together, and this Sunday we start a new teaching series which is called Faith for Life's Journey. We think this teaching series is really key for this particular time. We know that faith is not just a momentary thing. Faith is not something that you just get at the beginning of your Christian walk. It's not a single act of trust. Faith is a lifelong process. It's something that gets built up over time and gets developed and strengthened through every stage of life and every circumstance that we find ourselves in. And as we go through this series, we're going to be looking at and exploring the story together of Abraham, a great man of faith. And we hope that you will join us this Sunday and for the coming Sundays as well, and invite others to join us as we together go on this journey of faith. We just want to remind you that there are people here to support you, that we as ministers, as elders, are here for you. We have a list of people who have volunteered to do shopping, to collect prescriptions, to provide some support in any way that's required that we can within the restrictions. So if you would like to get in touch, please do contact reception. Call the usual telephone number or drop us an email. Please keep listening. Please keep up to date with all that's going on. Things are moving so quickly. We've got lots of things in the pipeline that we haven't even mentioned yet. So come back often and listen out for all that we have in store. We pray that you will be blessed over the coming days. We look forward to gathering with you again on Sunday. God bless you. Have a great week.